Hey guys, and welcome. I wanted to just hop on here and make a short video about the ascension process, as I feel it is significantly accelerating and picking up in speed. And as it does that, it is most certainly going to be pushing many people up to the surface. It's going to start pushing people up that have been down for a really, really long time. It's supporting and strengthening those people. It's bringing about connections that need to come together at this time, for work collaboration, for partnerships, for relationships. There's so many different things that are being highlighted to me, that are being shown to me. And one of the main things, as I was working with a client this morning, one of the main things and the main message that I was really getting for this client was that it's very, very important for us to be detached at this time and to be able to let go of things that we've been clinging on to for a really long time. And that clinging on to, what I refer to there, is hanging on to certain patterns, hanging on to certain ways of thinking and certain belief systems that we have. And it was just interesting because this client has a child, right? And even with that, like, I was getting such a clear message that it was time for her to sort of just surrender and release control when it came to her children, and to make sure that she wasn't keeping herself stuck by catering to her children's needs and putting their needs above her own. Because, and as a mother and a parent myself, that's something that I have come to recognize. And actually, even this past week, I had some major eye-opening lessons that pertain to my child specifically, and certain boundaries and just certain things that I actually noticed that I was doing. Like, for example, just I wasn't feeling a certain activity. Like, I didn't feel like going. I didn't feel like doing it. I certainly felt pressured to be doing it by her father. And then in addition to that, like, she really wanted to go. So I felt like, okay, I should go and I should do this. And it's the summer break and school, it's almost back to school. And like, my ego actually came up with like 5 or 6 different excuses as to why I should be completely abandoning myself at this moment and catering to her needs and her wants and her desires. And I recognize that that's like fucked up and that's really wrong, and that I really shouldn't have done that. But that's okay, because the process of doing that is actually what taught me not to do that. So it's even like being okay with your mistakes and being okay with your growth, and seeing your own progress and seeing how you're growing. And you see how you grow by recognizing the mistakes that you make, and then really learning from those mistakes and looking at correcting them and figuring it out, and making sure that you're not like repeating a certain cycle or a process, right? There's so many personal like mistakes and habits and different ways of feeling about things or thinking about things that I have within myself that I've now come to understand are like really toxic, are things I need to shift out of, and things I need to allow to fall away, because it's actually not truly who I am. It's just so a part of the programming that I've received, right? And part of the programming that I've instilled within myself through believing certain things, that I've been exposed to in my life. And questioning all of that is like the time now, and to really shed all of those beliefs. And like, a huge specific wound that I have is like an abandonment issue. I have a massive, massive like abandonment wound that I've actually been working on, and it's been shrinking in size gradually as I've been working on it. So I feel less and less of an attachment to that abandonment issue, but it's still something that's there. It's definitely deep. It comes from a deep place within myself, and something that I think, once again, I bring up my childhood a lot in my videos, but I bring that up because so many of us experience exactly the same thing. I don't feel like my childhood was really any more unique or different or more traumatizing or more shitty than anybody else's. Maybe to some degree, yeah, but to other degrees, actually, no. Right? So, but I still recognize how many things I brought from that time of my life, and how many things I was exposed to that were really incorrect, that were really not in alignment with spirit, and those were beliefs and stuff that my family shared, and it was like common knowledge and talked about all the time. And so transitioning myself out as I'm going through this ascension process and pushing myself out and like taking the time to recognize like those different things within me that I'm really now ready to shed. And I think the shedding process truly comes to those that are willing to do the work, that are willing to drop that heaviness, that are willing to invest the time into themselves. Like self-care is something I can't even accentuate to you how incredibly important it is right now, and how much Spirit is asking all of us to really dump energy into ourselves and into healing and into recovery and into the transformation and the shift that is here for so many of us. There's such huge shifts that are here for many of us, and all we need to do is embrace it. I was explaining to this client this morning, there was some deep poverty consciousness and victim mentality that she was still carrying. And I was telling her, like, this is the shit that's blocking you. This is the stuff that's not allowing you to actually receive the amount of abundance that the universe wants to give to you. And it's purely coming from your beliefs. So it's like aligning ourselves through self-care and through introspection. Like I asked her, what are your passions, like your personal passion? What are you passionate about personally within yourself, about yourself? And it took her a good 5-10 minutes just to even kind of figure that out. Like she had to really think about that. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to connect within people. And that's what I'm trying to connect within you watching this video, is that recognize what your own passions are and what your own capacity is to the greatness that you can be. Because once you understand your own internal capacity, you begin to understand what you are passionate about when it comes to yourself. Like I have become, for example, increasingly passionate about taking care of myself. Like I've never really felt such a desire to love myself and deeply love and accept myself, and to look in the mirror and just be okay with all of me as I am in this moment, and to see my flaws and to openly look at them. But I'm looking at them without judgment now. Like before, I feel like I used to really judge myself and be super hard on myself about all of those shortcomings that I had, where now I'm looking at those shortcomings and I'm asking myself, like, how can I do better? How can I fix this? How can I not even fix, because it's not broken, it's just how can I transform this into a much higher octave of myself, and have it come forth in a completely different way, and I was sharing with this client that something that I did a long time ago when I manifested my home was, I was in a really bad place at that time in my life, and I got really pissed. I got really, really angry because I felt like I was doing so much and I was giving so much of my time and my energy to support other people and to help them and to heal and to run my business and to support my staff and to support my clients and to support my family and everyone else around me. And I had completely forgotten about myself, and I was falling apart completely. And one day I just got pissed. I got so angry, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing all this for everyone and I'm investing all of this time and this energy into everyone. And what am I getting back out of it? Like, what am I giving to myself? And that was the moment when I realized how much I had neglected myself for so long. And that was just a pattern that I was choosing to maintain in my life because of a fear of abandonment, actually, because I felt like I needed to people please in order to keep people in my life. Not anymore. And these are the things that now that I've like walked through this path and I have walked down this path, I have come to understand that, man, all of those things, all of those beliefs and the way that I used to be has really shifted. And I can see clearly now how much I have shifted. And I only see it because I have shifted, right? Like I have this new perspective about myself and about who I am and how I show up in the world and how I want to show up in the world. And there's so much less pressure that I put on myself in terms of how I need to show up. And the only thing I want to do now, instead of applying pressure to myself, is more so just how can I love myself more? How can I pour into my cup more? How can I do more things or just allow myself to be instead of do? How can I allow myself to just be in any given moment so that I don't feel this constant pressure of time or of needing to get things done? I can be so much more effective and so much more productive if I actually align myself mentally and in my heart first. And now I'm recognizing, like, even when I'm doing these videos and stuff, like meditation prior to the video significantly puts me into higher octaves of frequency of energy. And what I translate and what I channel comes through actually differently. Sometimes it comes through more clearly, more precisely, like the information is just super on point. So it's very interesting that I'm seeing all of this change in the ascension process taking place within myself, and just seeing how far I've come. And the other piece I want to mention here is, like, really don't be afraid, and this was something I mentioned to my client as well earlier, is don't be afraid to allow people to shed from your life, and to allow people just to really, especially as a parent, allow your children to make mistakes, allow them to be themselves. Don't try to micromanage them, don't try to control them, especially if they're teenagers. Don't try to tell them how to live and scold them for, you know, their mistakes, but instead ask them, what would you do differently next time? This is what you did, this is the consequences of what you did, these are the results now, and now that you've kind of gone through this process, how would you have done things differently? And ask your kid that, instead of scolding, instead of I told you so and I told you not to, right? Instead of that. So again, I was putting kind of a brand new perspective into her mind in terms of how she can parent her child without attachment, especially without toxic attachment. Again, something I'm recognizing within myself, and I'm seeing how I need to establish those better boundaries and how I really need to put myself first. It's still, man, the guilt sometimes still really tugs at me, but I'm trying to really help myself understand that that guilt is an illusion. It's a lie. What exactly are you feeling guilty about? For taking time for yourself or for setting boundaries for your child? Don't you want your child to, like, learn boundaries and set those limits with other people so that they don't walk all over them and take advantage of them? Well, of course we do. Of course we do as parents. So then why do we feel so guilty when we're doing it ourselves? Because it's foreign, because we're not used to it. It's not something that we typically did before. And I know, and I can see, and then thankfully, because I'm awake enough, I keep explaining to my child, like, hey, you know, I'm sorry that I actually had this conversation with her this morning. Like, I'm sorry that you have to kind of experience this, because I know some days it's really tough with me, and some days I'm not the person that she would like me to show up as. She likes mommy to be happy-go-lucky and perfect and like all the time, right? But that's not who I am all the time. It's not something I can't authentically sustain that. All right, because authenticity means that one day I might feel good and the next day I might not. So I'm trying to help her understand that, you know, I show up to the best of my abilities, but if I don't show up in the way that you need me to show up, it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's just who I am, and it's the process I'm going through. And I've been explaining to her, like, mommy is changing and I'm changing from the inside. And she noticed my bullshit meter is like significantly shifted. It's not, the tolerance level is just not there for a lot of stuff that I used to tolerate and put up with. And that's only going to get more and more powerful. And I told her that's only going to keep shifting in the right direction, because I feel like this is something that needs to happen, and I need to be able to show her what authenticity truly looks like and what ascension truly looks like. It means that you overcome pieces of yourself that you know were out of balance. That's what it's all about. So try to understand that the process that you're going through, and we're all going through this collectively, like whether you're aware of this or not, we're all going through this collectively and definitely individually. But try to understand that your process is your process, and you're going to need to stay very true to yourself, and you're going to need to say no to people, and you're going to need to keep pushing back. And the other piece I got was working with her, and even for myself, I've been getting this, and for other light workers, is that it's really important for us to protect our energy. It's very important right now for us to really like bubble up constantly, and to make sure that we are maintaining our high vibe energy, because the external world right now is so out of balance. There's like a wobble, there's this complete unrest, I feel like, in the energy, and that is going to upheave a lot more unrest energy within people. So maintaining your own space and your own boundaries and your own energetic boundaries. So putting a bubble up, what I mean by that is you create an energetic bubble that you imagine around your body. Once you imagine it and visualize, that's what imagining is visualizing it, then the bubble is actually there. You can make this several layers, layer over layer, or you can put like one really tough one, it's, and then program that bubble to be very specifically protective of your energy, to contain everything, hold it in, and to deflect and reflect back, or return to sender, like any lower vibrational energies from other people. And this is something we're gonna have to do. I have to do this constantly now. I almost collapsed in the queue, in the line, waiting for the thing to get into a water park yesterday, because so many people around me, and the energy was so intense, like I couldn't even handle it. So I'm noticing how much I have changed and how much more sensitive I've become, and how much of a lower tolerance I have for low vibrational energy. I also noticed that the lower vibrational energies that I'm picking up on seem to be quite strong. I don't know if they've amped up in power or what's happening, but it certainly feels more intense to me, and just kind of everywhere. So be very, very mindful who you share energy with, who you hang out with, who you share stories with, or your personal goals especially. I'm going to say that keep that to yourself 100%. Do not share your goals and your dreams with other people. Keep it contained within yourself. As hard as that can be sometimes, because you want to get excited and just share it with especially people you love, right? But many people do not have people in their life that understand. So just allow yourself to kind of be on your own for a little bit, and just accept that. And the other piece I was talking about earlier for her was surrender. It's extremely important right now that we surrender to a higher spirit, to the universe, and to allow the universe to take care of the how. When it comes to anything in your life that you want to change, don't worry about the how. It's more of set the intention of what you want to change, and then just stay focused on that, and keep maintaining the feeling and the thoughts within yourself that you already have it. And that is how you're going to facilitate the universe helping you, and bringing a lot of really great things into your life. So overall, that's my message kind of for right now, is just to really take care of yourself, pour into yourself as much as possible, release your children, release the control of your children and other people, or anyone around you that you feel that you want to kind of micromanage. Just let all that shit go, and just really focus on you. Bring all that attention back inwardly, especially right now. We're going to be heading into the fall season very soon. So turning inward is going to be really crucial. It has been this whole time, the whole year. I've already been saying and talking about this, like meditate. But it is a practice. It is something you have to get used to, and it's something that you have to really commit to. And you're only going to commit once you understand that how incredibly powerful it is, and how much it actually supports and helps you. So stay on the ascension path, as difficult as it can be to walk, especially on your own. Recognize and honor that this path needs to be walked alone. It's not something that you can necessarily share with other people. You can share with like-minded individuals who understand their own journey that they're walking, yes, but in general, most people around you and your immediate friends and family are probably not going to get it. They're not going to understand. Just be okay with that, and accept it. Complete, like, radical acceptance of other people as they are actually aligns you to become more unconditionally loving towards them, because now you're not expecting them to understand you. You're not expecting anything out of them. You're just simply going to do you. And you're also going to keep your stuff, your dreams, your goals to yourself. And you're going to keep working on those behind the scenes quietly. And then when it's time, you just show up and you do your glow up. And, people will see. They'll recognize how far you have come. And then they're going to ask you, what have you been doing? Can I do some of that? So keep ascending, guys. Keep ascending. Let's go. I know I'm heading up, and I know a lot of people are heading up with me. And I'm super excited to see what we manifest for ourselves in the 5D. So let's keep going. Don't give up. Stay true to you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.